You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV Spartacus After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV Spartacus After Show.
Woo! Here we are.
We've been waiting for this all week.
Yes, absolutely. And it did not disappoint.
I know, it did. It definitely brought the fire. You guys are watching Spartacus Season 2 Monsters Episode 9 at the AFTERBUZZ After Show with myself, Spicy Mari, and your other host, Sean Overman.
Woot, woot.
And we are about to bring the thunder just like Spartacus did, because this was an awesome episode. This is just what we needed, right, Sean?
It sure was on fire.
Fire. So what do we have prepared today? Let everybody at home know.
Okay, peeps, so we got our usual outline. We're going to do the relationships with the characters. We're going to talk about some of our favorite quotes. And if you guys are following us on Twitter or, looking at our YouTube stuff or on AfterBuzzTV.com, tweet at us your favorite quotes. Let us know. Do some comments, please.
And also leave information on what you guys would like to see, rate us on iTunes, because we love that. Sean and I are huge fans, and so we like to give our thoughts and opinions, and we would love to hear yours in return. So any opportunity you get, rate us on iTunes, please.
That's right. And then after the favorite quotes, we'll take a little commercial break, do some shout outs to some of our Twitter followers.
Our loyal Spartacus fans.
And also, we will talk about news and gossip. We'll do a little gladiator workout tips that I've prepared. And lastly, we'll do our predictions.
Yes, and we have a lot.
Especially because
only one episode left.
Only one left. Oh, man.
This is definitely a tearjerker moment for me, because I feel like I was just waiting for Spartacus to come back, and now that it's ending. It's over almost.
I know. Oh, gosh.
But that's okay, because
too soon.
I know. But they're going to come back, so we're guaranteed another season, so that's all that matters. But how about Spartacus this episode and his leadership skills once again?
Uniting all the rebels. And we were just talking about this before we went on. May he who is without sin cast the first stone.
Exactly. I keep saying Spartacus is like Jesus. We see this. This is a reoccurring theme every single episode.
Yeah, he is really good. He's a good guy. He's perfect. He is the perfect leader. You can't tarnish him. All this stuff is on him. All this dirt, all the blood, all the vengeance that he has. And he's still the best among everybody in the whole show. He has to be untarnished in some way.
I would love to see him make a mistake. I feel like they're portraying Spartacus as just this infallible being that is godlike. And yes, he's a great fighter, but every single time he has to be the good guy and do the right thing. I would love at some point him to do the wrong thing.
Well, you know what? We could save that for predictions. I'm gonna make a little note right here. Well,
I guess getting Ilithyia knocked up could be the wrong thing.
Okay.
That could be considered. He's somebody's baby daddy now.
Hey, maybe him letting her go was the wrong thing.
We'll see. That's a possibility. But it looks like he is definitely uniting the people, uniting his army, and he's starting to build brotherhood and bonds amongst them all. You saw a lot of division between Crixus and Oenomaus, and between Gannicus and Oenomaus, but Crixus and Agron. And so now they're finding similar grounds based on Spartacus's forcing them to join.
That's right.
In the brotherhood.
So he right in the beginning of the show, Spartacus, he tests the rebels. We see those Romans coming up and them knocking out some of the rebels that are standing guard or doing watch,
You have to be pretty confident to do that, to pretty much... He snuck into his own campground and tried to trick them as if he was a Roman.
Yeah, I bet you he knew he wouldn't get killed. So obviously
he just thinks he's that good of a fighter.
Well, he is the best fighter on the show, among all the rebels. So he tests them, and he was surprised. I was surprised how unaware everybody was. The only person who was ready, kind of, because she was up drinking something, some wine or water. it happened to be Navia. She was there, and she sounded the alarm. Yeah, Romans. But then, obviously everybody was ultimately unprepared, and he later on strengthens bonds, by making sport, right? So that was pretty interesting.
I thought that was a good idea because they've mentioned before that drinking and communion definitely gets the brotherhood going and it builds relationships. And I feel like there's a lot of animosity between them as an army. And he's right. They need to be in unison in order to defeat the Romans. And so I thought what he was doing was a great thing. Once again, Spartacus is doing his leadership skills practice over there. But I'm just tired of that reoccurring theme. I would like to see just a little naughty boy out of him.
Well, we'll probably see something in the next episode. And I already wrote down, while you were talking earlier, I wrote down
you have another prediction?
I wrote down a third prediction. So also interesting, you mentioned this earlier about Oenomaus and Gannicus, Agron and Crixus. So he puts these guys who are all enemies with each other. He put Agron and Crixus on the same team with their little sport thing that they had going on. Their little melee battle, obviously no one's going to die. And they had Oenomaus and Gannicus, Crixus and Agron on the other team, and it was really interesting to see that going on. And of course, Gannicus and Doctori won because they're the more experienced fighters.
It would have been bad if they didn't.
No, it would have been awful.
But I thought that there was going to be a real fight breakout at some point. I thought that possibly somebody would strike someone too hard in this playful fighting, and that once again it was going to be a huge just brawl. But it didn't. It wound up being actually, camaraderie being built.
Yeah, exactly. And then, at the end, we see immense respect openly expressed by Crixus when he joins arms, in that brotherly way with Agron. And that was pretty cool. And then you see the more seasoned fighters who won, Gannicus and Doctori.
Right.
Doctori gives a little nod, and so does Gannicus. That's all they needed.
They're too cool to show any love and hug and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually enjoyed the fight. I thought it was pretty cool. Not too much of Doctori and Agron, but they showed a bit of Crixus and Gannicus fighting. And Gannicus, he had that interesting stance. He almost had like a boxing stance going on.
Yeah, it did look like that. I kept commenting on the fighting though this episode. As much as I love to see them beat the crap out of each other, I felt like because they were putting it in slow motion and because it was this playful fighting, it looked a little cheesy. And I always love the fight sequences on Spartacus. They're always realistic. I feel like I've never, not once, seen a stunt double in any of the scenes, and it always looks realistic. And this is the first time I felt like, I don't really know. It looks like these are slow motion rehearsed fighting scenes.
That's right.
But you said that it was because it was to be more playful, right?
Yeah, it was probably supposed to be more playful. It was a sport fight, sport melee, smackdown, if you will. And also we had the famous kiss finally came up.
Yes, the moment we were waiting for, the moment you were waiting for.
You know what? I honestly thought it was so hyped up, when you talked about it in the news and gossip, and then we talked about, we had other people, talking about it too, and people were saying it all over the news.
Yes. For those of you that might have missed last week's episode, we gave a little treat about in news and gossip that Ellen Holman, who's Saxa, and that Katrina Law, who plays Mira, were going to have a kissing scene, and that this was something that they had rehearsed and staged that nobody else on set knew about. And we got to finally see the kissing scene this episode. And it wasn't as juicy as I thought it was going to be.
No, it wasn't, but that was good, actually, because it made it classy. It wasn't something like where we have Ilithyia and Lucretia kiss, where they focus on it so much, and it's like
No, they weren't making out. It was more out of the passion of the win. Like Saxa grabbed her face, and grabbed Mira's face, and just kind of kissed her and then pushed her away.
Yeah, it was like a sisterly kiss in a way.
It was.
It was just whatever. So I thought it was classy, it was subtle, and that's what kept it good.
Well, and I'm happy that they saw that it was a good scene to leave in, because it wasn't something that was written in the script. They did it on their own. So that was kind of cool that their improv got to stay in the show.
Katrina and Ellen Holman, good job.
Yeah, definitely good job. And Saxa's actually been saying, Ellen Holman's been saying that she's been doing such a good job on the show, they're allowing her to just kind of use intuition with her scenes and move forward with it. And they're telling everyone on set, just kind of follow Ellen Holman, like she's doing a great job. Let's just roll with it. So I think that's kind of like, for you to be the new girl on the show, you're doing good. And you're getting kissing scenes with like the other star already.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And and speaking of people kissing, there was a little bit of a lack of that between Glaber and Seppia, because Seppia knows that, or she at least has that inkling, that little bit of evidence that Glaber killed her brother.
She was definitely removed this episode. You can tell that she was irritated. She was uncomfortable. I like that she was actually affected by the fact that she now has this knowledge, because she could have just tried to play it cool as if she didn't know anything. But you could definitely feel the tension between her and Glaber every single moment that they were together.
Yeah, it's like she felt like she was being violated when he started like kissing her and caressing her, and like he slipped off her, her dress to expose her breast. Of course, she was very uncomfortable because she doesn't want to be violated by the killer of her brother.
Right. And I think that it was extremely important that they went back and forth with her and Glaber, and kind of showing this behind the scenes between her and Lucretia, and us knowing what's going on, and then going back to her and Glaber, and we're like, okay, she's definitely staging this moment right now. She doesn't really care about this guy.
That's right, and it was a total setup. We're gonna talk about this a little bit later because we have some juicy stuff. Just in the next relationship.
What I think is crazy is that she isn't really how she's not really in love with Glaber is because she wasn't hurt that he killed her brother. She was disappointed at the fact that he was the one who killed her brother, but not necessarily that it was the man she loves who killed her brother. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like if she was really in love with Glaber, she would have been affected that now her relationship has to end, and that the man she loves killed her brother. But I don't think it's about Glaber being the man that she loves.
So you think she was just doing it for power? Like a power play, like
I think
to get
she was
like
young
an
and
older
immature,
man.
and it wasn't true love, because she got over him so easily, and now she's ready to kill him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just had to make that statement because I think that love is more important. And like we said before, Seppia kind of hops around.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying she's a hoe, just hoe-ish.
Yeah, it's the three guys on the show. Seppius, her brother, obviously, Varinius, and then now Glaber.
Yes, exactly. We saw Varinius come back this episode.
Yes, we did, and that was really interesting. How he and I predicted that he would come back.
You did. That was a great prediction,
which was pretty cool. And
Kudos
he comes back.
to Sean. He predicted this.
Thank you very much, Spicy.
Snaps.
So he's dressed very militaristic, and him and Glaber obviously clashing heads. And we see even Varinius' hair is different too. So he's not wearing those senator robes anymore. He's wearing the military garb of a praetor.
Exactly.
So this is very interesting. His hair looks like all crew cut now, totally different. He demands requests that the Senate has said to have Glaber step aside. So obviously heads are butting there, and
there's a threat upon your throne. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, Varinius was more powerful than him for a while and had the respect that Glaber now has. So now he's threatening to take his title, and this is at the hand of Seppia. Because Seppia is the one who requested him to come back.
Yeah, she sent that message, and she said all these other things, obviously all the true things that Gaius Glaber had killed her brother, but then there's no proof, and no one believes Seppia.
Oh, I felt so bad for her because she looked like a liar.
She did.
And then
really
leave it to Ilithyia to make it seem as if it was fictitious and that it never really happened. What are you talking about? I bumped my head in my bath.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I knew something was up at that moment.
Yeah, so that was crazy when he didn't believe Seppia, and she just looked like a wounded puppy standing there when the doors closed.
I know, that was so sad.
Yeah, so we get to so you just mentioned Ilithyia, so we're going now to a relationship with Ilithyia and Glaber, and he interrogates her in the bedchamber instead of comforting her over her, terrible situation with being captured.
All he cares about is where the hell is Spartacus and the army located. He's not like, are you feeling well? How's the baby? He just wants to know, what do the walls look like? Were you blindfolded? How far did you walk? How deep was the forest?
What
do
did
you
the
mean
stone
he let
look
you
like?
Yeah. I was kind of shocked at that too, but not so much because she didn't really deserve his admiration and care and love and thankful. He wasn't really grateful that she was back. And I knew that was going to happen, but at the same time, the audacity of her to expect it.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? You really doubted when Spartacus said that your husband doesn't love you?
Well, she doubted the words of a slave.
Oh.
So I'm sure that's why.
Excuse me, yes, of course. What do you know?
Yeah, everybody there in the Roman era, they obviously, the Romans think that they know better and they're above everybody else. So that's why it's like, oh, the slaves are always going to tell lies and whatever to get their way. That's what I'm thinking.
I can see that. I can see her not believing it until it came from his own mouth.
Yeah. So so she is now, staring at a monster, and she says that to she says, "What am I looking at now?" And he says, "You're staring at a monster."
I thought that was one of the most, that was when they brought it full circle for me. When he admitted to the monster, because I was wondering, monster, why is this episode titled Monster? I didn't know what that was going to imply or how that was going to come around. But when Glaber admitted that he was a monster, and slowly but surely, you and I have been saying this entire time, we've been seeing that growth and development in his character to where he has turned from, he wasn't nice, but he was at least a respectable, commendable,
he was respectable. He played by the rules. He was uptight, but
he followed the rules, right?
Yeah, he always followed the rules, and now we have him, trying to rise to power. Monster. And he is a monster.
He's killing the innocent. He doesn't care who he steps on. But I love the fact that he addressed it. And to use the word monster is such a strong word, but that's exactly what he has become, a beast. Because he's running over any and everyone to get what he wants.
Yeah, and he's no different than Batiatus was in season 1, than Lucretia is, and he holds them to be below him.
But
now,
Batiatus, we kind of liked him, though. There was a likable character about him. We loved and hated him.
Yes.
Glaber, I don't like him at all.
Yeah, I just don't like him, period. That's true.
There's nothing about him that I'm like, oh, I hope he wins, kind of, sort of. No, not really.
So while we're speaking of Glaber, you wanted to mention something about his nude scene?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we get teased a lot here on AfterBuzz for the after show Spartacus Vengeance because, I'm sorry, this is a very sexual, this show is just induced with sex. And we can't help but to bring it up because it's a huge part of the show.
Yeah.
Part of it, yes, I do admit to liking, but we both all the time kind of get criticized for our bring up sex. And Sean recently got criticized and called a perv because you like the sex scenes.
Well, we talk about it a lot because this show is about violence and sex. Okay, so how can you not talk about the two main topics?
That's like us not talking about blood. Yeah. Okay, come on now.
Or vengeance.
Right. So don't hate the players, hate the game.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, this scene, okay, I'm going to be the perv this episode. This is the longest frontal nude scene I have ever seen of a man on television, and it wasn't a porn show. This was Glaber naked. We got to see his entire penis for at least 30 seconds. I counted, okay? I was like, he's just going to stand there. He's not even going to turn. He just stood there their entire time, just comfortable in front of Seppia.
Ooh, sexy.
That is the get it hot music. But I thought that was a huge deal because Spartacus always gets criticized for, people just watch it because of the sex. No, it is a really great storyline. But I will admit this is the first time that I saw nudity that wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It didn't add to the story. We just got to finally see Glaber naked.
Even when he was out of focus in the background, you could still see his outline naked.
But you know that you predicted this? You said a few episodes back on AfterBuzz for Spartacus that he's the only person that we haven't seen naked. I remember you saying that.
That was a while ago.
And now he's naked.
And now
so we got our wish.
So we actually saw him a couple of times, and actually in the very first season 1, episode 1, we did see him have sex with Ilithyia, and they did show a little bit of his ass.
A teeny bit. Of his ass.
Yeah, just a little
bit. I mean, we've seen all the slaves frontal, but this is the first time that we've seen Glaber. We finally got to see a predators. So this is an awesome moment for us. But I thought that was pretty interesting. And he's the only person that we got to see naked and a little of Seppia's boobs.
A little bit. Oh, Navia too. We got to see Navia.
Oh, so speaking of Navia, her and Crixus finally got to make up in the heat and passion of making love to each other.
And they got to have a standing up sex scene.
They did. There was a few standing up sex scenes this episode because who else had one?
Glaber and Ilithyia.
And Ilithyia, yeah. But this sex scene in particular is so important because, as you guys know, Crixus has been very understanding of him and Navia not being intimate because of her past rape and having been in the cave and being violated. So I commend his role for that. I commend the fact that he's been very patient, and finally the girl gives it up. So congratulations and round of applause. They have been intimate and they have joined forces once again, or I don't know, spirits have aligned.
They flowed like water into another where they didn't know where one ended and one began.
What?
I just heard that on a movie the other night. So
that's funny. That's
yeah.
a very sweet way to put it.
I was watching actually a Thin Red Line.
Oh,
Thin Red
okay.
Line. You know
so
that,
that's a line
that
from
old,
there? No.
Yeah, that's from a 1994 movie. So that was a while ago.
Spartacus fans, we pulled from another movie to describe a hot sex scene.
Yeah,
we can't help it.
But so getting back to Glaber, so him and Ilithyia, he's about to get killed, assassinated by Seppia, and it was all set up by Lucretia.
Did you know that was going to happen?
I did not.
I was extremely shocked. I definitely was under the impression that they were going to try to kill Glaber, but that would not be Lucretia's normal practice. She knows very well that they're not going to put themselves in harm's way or run the risk of them being caught. So they leave it up to Seppia to do it. When they put the knife in her hand, I was like, oh, this little girl's going to kill him.
They used her.
They played her like a freaking tool, like a little chess. They completely took advantage of the poor girl, and I felt so bad when Ilithyia came from behind and stabbed her in the heart.
Ouch.
And then sliced her in the throat.
And this was probably the goriest scene we've seen a woman get killed in.
For a female.
In the whole series. Oh my goodness. So she stabs her in the chest, breaks that breastplate, into the heart, and then she slits her whole throat ear to ear. Whew. And that arterial gush just kept spurting into the pool.
Don't you just love it?
And it got all over Glaber too.
Yeah, one thing that has been a reoccurring pattern that we have seen throughout Spartacus is that Ilithyia has no problem slicing and dicing and killing someone because how many people has she killed now on the show? I mean, she's killed slaves. She stabbed them. She's beat somebody's head into the ground.
Oh, that's right.
And
like
now
Kenya.
and now she's slicing throats and stabbing in the hearts. I mean, one thing I will give it to Lucretia and Ilithyia is job well done. You pulled one over on Seppia and now Glaber too, because he's under the impression that his wife came to his rescue.
And she's a monster too now.
And
you see how brutally...
that was the best scene when she admitted to him that she's a monster also. Why don't we just be monsters together?
That's right. It was very cool, and that led to a twisted and primal sex scene in the bloodbath while they're both covered in the other woman's blood.
That was awesome.
Seppia's blood. So it was awesome in a way, a little bit disturbing too.
That's what I love about Spartacus. There's nothing that the show, won't do. There's nothing that it won't cover. There's no limits. I love that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the show so juicy.
And Stephen tonight, like we were saying, he takes us places that we would not think were possible. And
right.
That's what makes it so amazing.
It's another world. The Spartacus is another world. And when you see somebody in the heat of the passion making love with blood covered all over them, you would usually think that that's pretty gross. I'm sorry. I loved it. I loved it. I thought that was an awesome scene because it was kind of sadistic at the same time, but yet very passionate and full of lustful love.
So that was a great scene. Stuff that we kind of let's like de-escalate a little bit, and we'll go to something that's kind of twisted just a tad, but it's we've seen a lot of this. We've seen Ashur being with Lucretia.
God, I hate Ashur.
And he's been raping her every episode, and thank goodness we didn't see it happen this time.
Yeah,
because I'm sick of it.
Thank you, writers, for not forcing that down our throats again, because that has been something that's tough every single time to watch. She's constantly being violated, and this is the first time that we see her without power. She's just powerless and having to do whatever Ashur wants. Now he's saying that she has to marry him?
Yeah, so he feels like he'll be set free, which is pretty interesting. After his conversation with Glaber, he alludes to, you're not a fool, Ashur. Okay, I would have you by my side when we're at the battle.
Glaber is playing him like a freaking violin.
You think so? It could be, I guess. Yeah.
He's being used. We've never seen Ashur not be used, and he is so naive to think that for the first time someone's going to embrace him and actually respect him.
That's a good point.
I'm not going to make my prediction. It'll come later, but I already know what's going to happen with Ashur.
It is a cycle, so that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So he wants to make... Ashur wants to make Lucretia his wife. He wants to own the house of Batiatus, turn it into the house of Ashur.
Gosh, I have some news and gossip too that kind of alludes to the fact that it might happen, but I'll talk about it when we go to news and gossip that Lucy Lawless has commented on.
Oh, okay. Do you really think that so obviously from what you said, you really don't think he's going to get the ludus and the house of Batiatus as his own?
You think you're going to get the house of Batiatus? Who do you think you are? The first slave ever in history? I'm sorry. You're a fool to think such thoughts.
Yeah. So we go into, let's de-escalate a little bit further. And now we get into a happier relationship, kind of sad, a little bit melancholy with Mira and Spartacus.
Oh, you already know how I feel about this.
Yeah, so she's clearly hurt. It's still from the last episode where he snapped at her and he didn't want her to choke the life out of Ilithyia.
I think, too, he's holding on to old baggage from his wife. So as long as your heart is filled with somebody else's love, you're never going to have space or make room for anybody else to fill it. Yeah. And as a woman, I feel bad for Mira because she, unfortunately, is in love with the man who's not in love with her. And this was kind of like a breakup scene, was it not?
A little bit.
I feel like he was kind of telling her it's over.
I think it seems like it, but maybe they're just having a couple's quarrel, a little fight here and there.
There's no passion. She said, "You have not laid in my bed
in a while."
Mm-hmm. And you know when a man is not being intimate with you, that he's maybe not being intimate with somebody else this time because Spartacus is like Jesus.
Yes.
But he definitely doesn't want her, or else he would be with her. Mm-hmm. And she's not going to ever be able to escape the haunting of his wife.
No, she won't. And remember, we alluded to this before, that his wife in a vision actually told him that, well, not in a vision, but when he was dreaming and remembering at one point, I think this was in season 1? Yeah, I think it was in season 1 where she said that Spartacus would never love another woman again.
Ah, he's cursed.
And he's probably cursed, and he keeps remembering this over and over again. He's thinking about his wife too much. He's thinking about freedom and justice and vengeance and leading the rebels to be free. And he's not thinking about himself. Maybe that's it. He's not thinking about himself as much. He's not being a selfish man, which is pretty interesting.
I think that he is, in a way, being selfish, though, because this is led by his own vengeance. Nobody else wants to fight this fight other than him. He is saying that this is the only way for us to defeat and take the Romans down. You really think that you're going to take the Romans down? And it is led by the fact that Glaber killed his wife or had his wife killed. And so he's putting everybody's life in jeopardy. I agree with Gannicus. He's leading everybody to his death.
That's right.
I'm sorry. That's not love.
And we know the story of Spartacus is going to end in tragedy. You know, and if any of you have seen the 1960s movie, you know, everybody gets crucified. Everybody dies.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
That is a thing to be happy about, but it's just funny because we know you're not going to defeat them, but we still have that hope, and we still want to push forward. We still want to see Spartacus succeed. But they were put in a very compromising situation this time, because if we move forward to where their house was, or their not
the
castle,
Greek
but their temple was being surrounded by Romans. I mean, this was a crazy scene.
It was. So now we move into that battle. That was a pretty insane battle. And there was a lot of dying. You know, it made up for the last couple of episodes.
Yeah, because they've been kind of not dishing it to us like we like. We're not in the arena like we usually are for every season. And so this was kind of tough for us huge fight lovers. And we finally got to see a real just battle. And it was vicious. We saw Oenomaus lose an eye.
Yeah, and we saw Varinius get hit by that catapult fireball right to his face.
So we lost 2 people this show.
2 important people.
Varinius and Seppia.
That's
but
right.
The reason that I feel like that wasn't as important was because they weren't here from the beginning.
No.
So I feel like none of us are really attached as fans to those 2, as opposed to one of the gladiators dying. Like if they would have taken Crixus from us, oh my God, I might have cried. Yeah, or Oenomaus, because I almost thought that Oenomaus was going to die. Yeah. I almost thought, because the Egyptian got to him.
The eyeball.
What, through his hands?
Yeah,
that
his
Egyptian
hand.
is scary. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oenomaus kind of looked like he wasn't able to handle his own going up against him.
I think other than Sedulus, the guy who got defaced, the Egyptian's probably the biggest guy on the show aside from Oenomaus. He's a little bit taller than him, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I mean, he's brutal. He shows no emotion, and he just looks cutthroat. I mean, he's scary. Yes. And we see Ashur trying to come into the mix as well.
Yeah.
And
he didn't do that much, though.
He didn't do anything.
No, he was there, like, in between the pillars, and then I didn't see him do that much else.
But leave it to him to know their whereabouts and to give that information to Glaber.
Yes, and that's what he does. He uses his mind, and he stays in the shadows.
But what was I saying was the smartest thing for them to do? I was saying if the Romans are smart, they're not going to try to just fight them. They're going to throw fire bombs into their temple. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were just lighting the place up, because you can't fight fire. And you know that you guys are run away so you don't have lots of water to spare.
That's right. And the technology of the Romans, it obviously is so much better than what the rebels have. The rebels don't got anything. They didn't even have swords. Once they took Varinius, which was, really easily, they got him, and it's just that must have been a trap. That must have been set up by Glaber, or maybe Glaber used him in a way.
Yeah, because originally I thought Varinius was coming on his own without Glaber.
Yeah, that's what I thought
behind his back. But then we see Glaber right behind him. So it could have been that he did come first, and that Glaber was just, it was the same timing maybe. Or that they were together, but I don't see them shaking hands and taking part together.
No, yeah, it's probably more likely that Glaber used Varinius to go ahead and just be the decoy, the diversion, and throw in those fireballs. And I'm sure Glaber's going to be happy that Varinius is dead.
Yeah,
because
totally.
he killed two birds with one stone. He penetrated the forces of the rebels inside their Greek temple, and he was able to flush them out, and Varinius is dead. Thank goodness.
So him and Ilithyia, the two monsters, both got their way this episode. They got rid of Seppia and Varinius, and those were two people that were both in each other's ways from getting what they wanted.
Yeah, absolutely right. So let's go ahead, and I think that's about all of them.
Let's do our favorite quotes.
Yeah, let's go ahead. How about you start first?
Okay, so one of the quotes that really stood out to me was, and it's going to be spicy or love related. "You tore my heart from my chest. No wonder it stands empty before us." This was when Glaber was with Ilithyia, and she's like, "You don't love me anymore," however they talk. And that was a true statement. I felt like she doesn't deserve his love. She crapped all over him she has torn him down as a man. She has shown him the most disrespect ever. Pregnant with his child, was going to marry somebody else, and you expect him to still love you? Just because you now want to keep him because he's in a position of power. So I felt like that was a great, honest moment for him.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And that's why he stands as a monster now, because he's had his heart torn out and he can't feel
because at one point he did
anymore.
have love for her. I believe at one point he did love her.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. And actually within that same scene, a little bit before that quote, I really liked a really short quote. "Are you of this world?"
Oh,
where she was waking up.
And
she thought she was dead and maybe in heaven. So that was pretty interesting.
And then she comes to consciousness and she was like, "Wait, are you a Seppia?"
Yeah.
Just like a woman. "Wait, were you cheating on me?" Forget that I am alive and survived Spartacus and his army, but were you with another woman?
Yeah, and I think that's actually a good point because, oh man, it was just when she came in and she toppled into the pool. And that was
very dramatic scene.
It was very dramatic. I liked how they had the phantom camera with the water splashing everywhere. And then, wait a minute, I thought that was a dream. That was interesting.
I just feel like so many people have fallen into that little pool.
Yeah,
I think, right. I mean, because that's the house of Badiata. So we've seen a lot of people die in there as well. So it was kind of symbolic for her to fall in there.
So another quote I got is, "I would see such embers be given breath."
Okay, so who said that one?
That was from Ilithia's mouth, and that was to Lucretia, and that was regarding Seppia being angered more by Lucretia so that she could try and stab and kill Glaber. Yeah.
Lucretia is just a tricky person. I mean, there is nobody that she hasn't plotted against on this show. And she did it once again. She stuck her venom right in her.
You're absolutely right. And she hasn't gotten that much screen time, actually, this last episode that we watched
No, she didn't.
Now. But she was behind the scenes pulling those strings.
Right, she was. She's back there playing everybody like a puppet. And I still think that I'm not going to get into predictions, but I still think that this love between her and Ilithyia is not real. So my other quote is, "Give me more of your heart. I have given all that remains." And then Spartacus replies, "I've given all that remains." And she replies, Mira, "It is not enough." And he says, "No, it is not enough." So Spartacus agrees.
He knows.
He's like, "I'm sorry, girl, but I can't. I don't love you like that." And and that has happened in relationships in everyday life, even in the Roman time till now, that two people are in two different places at one time. And he's admitting that he just has nothing more to give.
His heart is filled with vengeance.
Yes,
not with love.
It is. Him and Glaber are more similar in this show than we think.
Oh, that's a really good point.
One's playing Jesus, the other one's playing Satan, but they both have the same intentions.
Yeah. "I see you many things, Syrian, but I do not consider you a fool." So that was where Ashur was actually, that was from Glaber's mouth.
Okay.
And that was where Ashur was actually kind of like humbling, like being humble in his words when Glaber offered him, hey, I want you to be at my side during the battle. And then I forgot exactly what Ashur said, but he said something to the effect of, oh, well, I'm such a fool to be by you. Why do you want me there, you know? And then Glaber retorted with that.
Well, you know who we thought was a fool this episode that you pointed out has proven himself was Nasser.
Yeah.
He too is not a fool this episode because he now has gotten respect. So it looks like Ashur's gotten respect, and he's not a very good fighter, but he's supposedly getting Glaber's respect.
Right.
And now Nasser is getting respect as a slave fighter
among
from
the Germans. Yes, that's right. Lugo has now respect for him. He kept
It's
calling
almost
him
like
little
the little
man.
pipsqueaks are coming up in the world.
Yeah, they sure are. Okay.
I have what a man may accomplish if mind is set to purpose.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, and I feel like that's applicable to anybody who puts their mind to anything. I might have to tweet that as a spicy tip later.
You should. I still believe you will see us all to our untimely end.
I agree.
And that is Gannicus.
Yes, I totally agree, Gannicus. I'm with you on this.
You got any other ones?
Our hands shape the fates, and those men tremble. This was Lucretia saying this to Seppia, trying to kind of teach her as a woman. You're a woman now. Use your power because I have used my power, and look at me now. So I think,
and she was using it on her right there.
And she was using it right then and there. Poor young Seppia. And that's why we unfortunately had to kiss her butt goodbye this episode.
Yeah, she got clobbered.
But it wouldn't be Spartacus unless they could kill some of our favorites off.
No, you're absolutely right. And the last one that I have for quotes is, Glaber approaches from the rear. It is the Roman way. We will teach them ours. So a little bit of a gay illusion there, you know, approaching from the rear and such. Pretty funny. I actually had to paraphrase it a little bit because I think I missed the
But that was his speech to them when he was trying to get them riled up to fight back.
Yes, that's
okay,
right. Right before the big
moment.
battle royale.
And I felt like I pointed that out too. I was like, as happy as I am that he's leading them to battle, I feel like this is a cheesy moment where everybody hopped into the scene and made their like serious face. I feel like there was a couple of cheesy moments on this episode, but I loved it. My last quote is, when hunger and madness drives them from perch, we will kill them all.
Yeah.
So
I like that
notice
one.
how it came back to kill them all.
It did.
So now it's Glaber saying that.
Yeah, and that's what they said in the second to the last episode. Also, Spartacus said that before. We will kill them all. There is only one way. We will kill them all.
And we saw that last season.
That's right. So, and now we got Glaber saying it. So very interesting stuff.
Great writing.
Yeah.
Awesome writing.
And so that wraps up our quotes. Let's go ahead and hit a commercial.
AFTERBUZZ TV. Hi, I was once like you, a lazy, angry loner whose only joy was watching TV and surfing the net. And like you, after I'd see one of my favorite TV shows, I'd be so excited and have so many questions that I'd actually have to talk to my douchebag coworkers about it at the water cooler. Then I discovered AfterBuzzTV.com. AfterBuzz TV produces after-show webcasts and podcasts for TV series of all kinds, like post-game wrap-up shows for all your favorite TV shows. AfterBuzz TV hosts are industry insiders who break down episodes of shows, take calls from fans, and interview cast and crew from each series, with over 60 different after shows, from Boardwalk Empire to American Idol to Vampire Diaries to Real Housewives, and more. Now, after a night of TV, I can ignore my stupid coworkers, who I hate, and go straight to my desk and watch or listen to all my favorite AfterBuzz TV after shows, and have all the TV fan interaction I need. Thank you, AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh, we're back.
We are back, and I'm over here laughing with Sean because we spoke earlier about how sexual intensified this episode was, but thanks for the music,
Perfect,
Bill.
Bill.
I was gonna be really quick with it, but I just was talking with Sean about how much we love that the male and females are both sexually exploited on the show. I love that it's equal. I'm sorry. I'm so used to only seeing naked women, and I love that men are exploited just as much on Spartacus.
Thank goodness the exploitation is equal. There is equality in exploiting.
Right, exactly. But let's give our shout outs to our fans, our loyal followers who tune in to us and download us on iTunes all the time. We love you guys to death. Monica B87 showed her appreciation. She downloaded us like usual, and she was just so appreciative that we shot her out. And I'm happy that she was listening. I love that, and we love to show love back to our followers.
That's right. And I got a similar comment from Crowboy, whatever. Sorry if I got your name wrong, but that was a really impromptu shout out.
You guys are following us on Twitter, so it's a lot of numerics that we have to remember.
Yeah. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for following us. I got some new shout outs. Nicer Blonde, she's following me on Twitter, and she tweets at Stephen DeKnight, the creator of Spartacus, a lot, and she's gotten some replies back from him.
Oh, awesome.
And she just started following me recently, and she said that she enjoys watching our shows, and she was watching like episode 7 of our AfterBuzz shows.
Cool.
And she enjoyed our commentary and such. So thank you very much. And she said I have nice teeth.
And Sean does have nice teeth. I get to see them in person all the time. But we appreciate that. We love when people comment. So like we said before, always rate us, comment, tweet at us. You can always tweet at us at AfterBuzz TV or at spicy_Madi or at the Sean Overman, and let us know what you think about the show and what you thought about this episode of Spartacus, because we get to talk about it. We would love to hear your guys' comments on it.
That's right. And we're live on AfterBuzzTV.com right now. And if you guys want to call us, if you've already watched the show, you want to comment with us, share in the discussion, please call us 424-256-1729. That's our number here at the studio.
And Crowboy82, he had also left the note that he kind of agreed with me on Ilithyia and Lucretia's relationship. He left that on my Twitter. He said, Spicy Madi, I do not think that they're real friends.
Yeah.
I think that Lucretia wants that baby in Ilithia's stomach.
That is interesting. I like that. That's because she lost hers.
She lost hers. And I have been saying that she's up to no good, that she wants that baby. And he agrees with me. So shout out to Crowboy82 for knowing and having a great prediction. CD Hunt CD Hunt, the number 0, said he hates that they're 3 days behind us in the UK, but he loves, or I don't know if he's downloading it 3 days behind, but it's a different time out there, so it airs differently. And so he loves the show, and he just appreciates us, and that we always show love to the UK because they're, huge Spartacus fans.
Very good. Go Britannia. So I got Ricky6 with 2 X's at the end on Twitter for pointing out. So he's following me on Twitter, and he pointed out that they reshot Liam's face in that gold sex scene from season 1. I
noticed that.
Which was pretty interesting, and we did comment on that actually, Ricky, while we were watching last episode, but we didn't end up talking about it on the AfterBuzz show.
He was disappointed that we didn't mention it, so we're mentioning it now.
Yes,
we noticed that, and I mean that was a pretty good job of inserting his face in there.
Yeah, and it was very fortuitous that they were using masks during the original sex scene, so they were able to just have a lot of the same stock footage, and then they just put him into a couple of quick shots.
Yeah. So that was definitely a great observation on his part. Thank you for contributing and tweeting that at us. And so how about,
I also
do you have
got,
any more?
Yeah, I got 2 more shout outs. Do you have any more?
Oh, no, I'm done.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I got Proteus Vulgaris on YouTube. He is sad that he barely found out about AfterBuzzTV.com and our videos. And he loves our comments on Spartacus. And he says that Spicy Madi and Sean rock.
Oh, woo! You rock too. Thank you. Thank you. We try.
And lastly, I got Remus0387. He says we always have interesting and funny info and commentary. So thank you very much, Remus.
You. See, it's okay to be pervs.
And I don't know if you know this, Spicy, but Remus is actually an allusion to Roman stuff, because Remus, I believe he was actually one of the founding members of Rome. Remus and Romulus. Very interesting.
So that's a real Spartacus fan right there.
That's right. This guy must love Roman history. Stuff.
He's almost as knowledgeable as you about the history.
Oh, I'm just a little bit. Just a tad. Okay, so now
News and gossip?
Let's go ahead.
Let's do it.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So this is not a prediction. This is actually news and gossip. I found an article from back in February where Lucy Lawless said that she couldn't give up what was going to happen to her role, and as far as she was going to make it to season 3, she's not even telling us if she's going to, because she alluded that she may die. She alluded that she may be in just a few of the first couple episodes next season, or that we're definitely going to see her acquire a different status this season. So I'm wondering if she's going to actually have to marry Ashur.
Ooh, that would be really spicy.
Because that would
and juicy.
change her status, would it not?
It would. It would make her under his thumb all the time, and he would always be abusing her.
And she also said in this interview, in this article for the Huffington Post, that she is very happy not to, as much as she loved playing Xena Warrior Princess, she is happy that this is the first time that she gets to relax in a role and not have to fight. And so because the interviewer was asking her, what about a movie? And she admitted, she said there's some controversy over the rights to Xena and making a film over it, but that she's too old. She said this herself. She's too old to play the role.
No.
She's not old. She
Come
looks
on.
hot. She looks awesome. But she hated the fight scene. She hated the fight sequences. So she loves the fact that she doesn't have to be a part of them, and that Katrina Law has been able to kind of take on that role as the up-and-coming Xena Warrior Princess in a way.
You know, I think I was reading an article as well, and they said that Megan Fox might be the new Xena Warrior Princess.
I don't know if I could take that movie seriously.
I
don't know.
I don't know. She's beautiful, you know.
She
She's not as pretty as I liked her back in Transformers. She's kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah,
but
she's not as strong too. For her to play that role, I think that she would have to be very fit, because as you'll tell us later, their workout is crazy. So she would have to really train for that.
Absolutely. Did you have any other news?
I didn't. That's all that I got.
All right, so I got quite a bit of stuff in the Twitter sphere. So we got Liam here. I was looking at his tweets the last several days. And Liam was recently interviewed on Good Day LA, and that was earlier this week, and he passed by Sean Bean in the hallway, apparently, and did not recognize Sean Bean. You know Sean Bean, right?
I know. Who is Sean Bean?
Oh, Sean Bean's the actor from Game of Thrones. He's like one of the main guys.
Oh, I love Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so Sean Bean's like one of the kings on there. I guess I don't watch the show either, but he's so famous.
Okay, I know
that
which
guy,
one he is.
Yeah,
okay.
He played Boromir. Or was it Faramir? I think Boromir in Lord of the Rings series. He was the guy who went...
Yes. I remember him.
Yeah,
so
okay,
he didn't recognize him?
He apparently didn't recognize him. And
two hit series and you guys don't recognize each other, huh?
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, but so he also tweeted one day ago that his favorite show aside from Spartacus is Futurama.
Oh, wow.
That was interesting.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, you haven't seen?
No, I
that's for, well, you know what show that is though, right? That's from the creators of The Simpsons, and it's actually, they made it a while ago, like back in the late 90s, and it's actually having a comeback now. You know how Family Guy was like off the air for several years and fans brought it back because of popularity?
Nice.
That's what Futurama is doing right now, and they're having like new episodes and stuff. Last I knew of it last year. So
Spartacus.
Spartacus.
What other
other news.
news and gossip?
Stephen DeKnight retweeted to fans a question yesterday that his top secret new show will be out sometime in 2014.
Yeah, he won't tell us what this top secret show is. I'm dying to know.
I'm wondering if it's going to be sci-fi. Do you think I don't think it'll be another period piece. I think he wants to go a different route. Also,
that'd be interesting to see.
It would be.
I would love it if it was like another version of like the Romans and Gladiators.
And I'm a big time fan of anything, like any Stephen DeKnight work. Now that I know, if I know he's going to be writing anything now or creating a new show, I'm going to be following it. Absolutely.
Definitely.
So he also tweeted yesterday that though there are only 2 episodes left, there are 4 episodes left of Death and Pain.
So they're tricking us then.
So no, he's not. It's not that he's tricking us. It's that 4 episodes worth of it. So he's packed in 4
into
episodes.
2 episodes.
Yes, 4 episodes of blood and gore.
So we saw part of it right now. We'll see the next one.
So we'll see next time. We'll see a massive amount of blood and gore, and everybody's gonna be dying. Hopefully.
He kind of hinted to that. So yeah, that'd be
bit.
interesting to see.
Also, he will not make a cameo in Spartacus. Okay, a fan was asking him that on Twitter, and he said he will not. But maybe in his next show, he'll make some cameos because he is a pretty fit guy. He's good looking. He's got cool tattoos. He could totally do it.
You showed us a photo of him before. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's an awesome looking guy. Spartacus fanboys may find this interesting. To all the gamers and gals out there, Stephen DeKnight replied to a fan saying that his favorite games are Halo and Modern Warfare game series. So I like Halo. I followed Halo for a long time. I played up to Halo 2, and then after a while, I didn't want to buy an Xbox 360, sadly.
Didn't you say that Liam McIntyre likes playing that game as well?
Yeah, he not Halo. He actually likes to play Mass Effect 3. That's what he's playing right now, and he said he was balls deep in it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they both are into video games. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. These guys are gamers. It's appealing to my side. right there. And so a little bit stuff
Makes
about
it more relatable.
Yeah, a little bit of stuff about Katrina Law. 2 days ago, she retweeted in response to a fan question that if she was a New York Jets fan or not, and she replied she's an Eagles fan. So that's interesting.
When does she have time for sports?
I don't know, man. She's busy.
But obviously she works it into her schedule.
See, a while ago, sometime last week, Manu Bennett tweeted that he attended school with the actor who lost his face in episode 7.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even though unfortunately we had to kiss his butt goodbye.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool to be able to see people that you went to school with in the past now working on projects with you.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit longer ago, Nick E. Terabay and Manu Bennett were tweeting at each other, and it seems like Nick E. Terabay has a bike now. Nick Terabay's Ashur, by the way. So
your favorite,
yeah.
your favorite villain.
So it sounds like he has a motorcycle. He's got a bike, and he was trying to encourage Manu Bennett to get his own, and Manu was like, hey man, I prefer, it sounds cool, but I prefer safety. And he loves driving his BMW 335i, which is an awesome car. Do you know that vehicle?
I know that it's really nice and I would love to have one.
That's the BMW it's a convertible, which is insane. It's hardtop convertible, so it's like it looks like it's solid, but it rolls into the trunk.
What's interesting is that is Crixus, who's supposed to be the tough guy, telling Ashur, who's supposed to be the punk.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite.
That's right.
One has a motorcycle, and that's so funny that Manu Bennett would be like, no, I'm trying to be safe. He's the one that's the hardcore one on the show.
You know what? It's because he's a father.
Hey, it does change things. It does change things.
That's right. And one of his followers on Twitter actually said to him, I love how you're so humble and that you're such a family man and you pride yourself on it.
Aw, that makes me love him even more because he is definitely one of the hottest men on the show and I love him to death.
He's a sweet guy.
That wraps up our news and gossip that we can get into predictions.
No, gladiator workout.
Oh, gladiator workout.
Don't hit it, Phil.
Okay, sorry, Phil. Our time is running short, so we're going to give quick gladiator workout and then we're going to go into predictions.
Very quick. So according to a Men's Health article, Manu Bennett had a particular workout regimen that he likes to use, and 2 tips from those today are, what's that? Is that workout music?
That's some cool music we get.
Yeah.
I figured if you're a video game fan and we're talking about workouts, this might be a good workout tip. Or not a tip, I'm sorry.
Oh, good workout, like theme
Music.
song.
Oh, right. That sounds retro, man. Yeah, that's like 90s right there, or 80s.
I don't know how much cardio I would
What's that
do
from, Phil?
Final Fantasy.
Oh, which one?
7.
That's from 7? Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, that's where I started, man. I love Final Fantasy 7. So, punching workout. Punch combinations at a punching bag for 2 minutes, and then you do a 30-second rest, and then you repeat it 2 times for 2 more sets.
I am doing that one right now. My trainer just told me to start doing that one to get my arms and get red carpet arms in order.
Oh, red carpet arms. Nice.
You're thinking gladiator arms, I'm thinking red carpet arms.
That's right, and this is how Manu Bennett, he's so buff and he's cut at the same time. He keeps up with it with the punch workout, and then he actually does something else called step throughs, which is a little hard to kind of imagine in your mind or when even I tell you the instructions. So we talked about the crab walk before. So from an inverted crab walk, which is the backwards.
Right, I remember that.
Yes. So you lift your right hand off the floor, then you take your left foot and step back to where your right hand was.
Oh, okay.
And then you stand up simply. It's called a stand up or step throughs. Sorry.
Those are probably almost as hard as burpees.
And I actually tried those, and that actually really works the obliques, on the sides, a lot, because you're crunching down on those things. And I guess my calves are not as fit as I want them to be because it actually, I could feel it in my ankles and my calves. It's like that twisting sensation.
Oh, so it must be working a new spot.
Yeah, it's working the smaller muscles that are down there.
Well, you know who we keep talking about on the show that probably should be working out just as hard as Manu Bennett is Liam McIntyre. I have to say, as much as I love him and I commend him for taking on such a huge role and replacing Andy Whitfield, who we just worship and adore, job well done, Liam. But we are noticing, because we are huge fans, that they're covering you up more and more on the show. We are used to seeing Spartacus's chest all the time. And abs. And now he is wearing a breastplate. Yep. And unfortunately for people like me who love to see the goods, they're covering it up because he must not be physically fit, which we've noticed before. and that could be because he did have to take the role, and it was out of nowhere.
It was really fast.
And how, it's really probably hard to get that big in those many, months. But we are noticing, though.
Well,
Just a completely uneducated observation. You think it's because he's taken on a shield also means that you're rising ranks, it's protection, things like that. Could it also be because of that? Again, this is completely without ever seeing any episode.
That's a good point,
That is
Phil.
a great
I like
save,
that.
Phil. That is an awesome save for Liam McIntyre. Because I was attributing it to his lack of pecs. But it could be because he's taking on a higher role. Very true. Because Doctori did used to wear a chest vest as well.
He always did, but Doctori is cut as hell
Right.
all the time, 24/7.
And we've seen his abs
Jeez.
lots. Whereas Liam McIntyre, they're skimping on his skin. I would like to see more. But we'll wait for that. We'll let him hit the gym a little bit longer.
And if we see more, maybe we can talk about now in predictions.
Predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So,
I know you wrote yours down. You were prepared.
I
You had
am.
lots of predictions.
this was the one that I wrote just while you were talking in the beginning during our relationships. We were just talking about Sparty. He can't make a mistake. He's like infallible.
Right.
He has to make a mistake. Next episode is the last episode of the season. And to leave it at a cliffhanger, he's got to make some kind of mistake. There's going to be something that happens. And I think that he's going to lead many of the rebels to their deaths.
He's going to get them killed.
Yes.
Which Gannicus has been saying this entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
So I
naysayer.
agree with that prediction because unfortunately I don't think that he is looking out for the better of his. I don't think he's looking out for the interest of everyone. I think that he's still being very selfish, just like he is in his relationship with Mira. And so, can you tell that I'm a woman?
Oh, man. It's so sad. Because Mira is so beautiful. How could he treat her like
I know
that?
you say that every time she comes on the screen, and I agree with you every time she comes on the screen. She is just pure hotness. And so my AfterBuzz prediction is once again back to Ilithyia. I think that Ilithyia and Lucretia, I think that they're going to have a falling out, that we're going to find out that Lucretia is really after Ilithia's baby and that somehow Ilithyia is going to die. I think that we're going to lose Ilithyia.
Whoa,
Not Lucretia.
that would be huge.
And that Lucretia is going to have to raise the child with Ashur. I think that she's going to start to be fond of her tormentor and wind up being like, hey, I'm stuck in this situation. I'm married to him. Let me just might as well enjoy this baby and family while I can.
That's interesting because I have a contrary prediction to that. I think Ashur's going to die next time.
I know. I kind of feel that too.
Because he can't, you know what?
He might not.
Because Glaber's promising him freedom, okay? Maybe he will be freed from this life.
Right. I can see, but Glaber's a monster,
Yeah.
so I can definitely see him killing Ashur.
Or maybe Ashur will just perish in battle. Who knows?
Well, one thing that I didn't see happening was Onomaus getting hurt. So we might wind up losing him as well.
that would be
I can see us
insane.
losing him
Yeah.
and Gannicus not being able to save him because now that they've just kind of reunited and become friends again. And build the brotherhood back thanks to
yeah.
Spartacus.
And then
I
he'll
can
go
see him dying.
Into tragedy again.
Right, just
yeah.
like how Spartacus had to lose his best friend, I can see Glaber or something killing Onomaus.
Yes.
And Gannicus being like, no, why?
And that is quite a mortal wound. Seriously, his eye, it looks cool. Maybe they'll keep him around for the cool factor because it looks cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's too much of a mortal wound for him to continue on maybe for the rest of the series. But hey, you know what? The gods saw fit to bless him with 2 eyes. So he's got one as a backup. And my last prediction is I think they're going to find their way down Mount Vesuvius. Because remember, Glaber said he wants to make them perched up there
Right.
and stuck and starve, okay? And this is actually what happened in history, too, from what I've read. They were sieged on Mount Vesuvius. And I think they're still going to find their way down somehow. I don't want to spoil it for people, but I think they're going to find their way down somehow miraculously, and they're going to outflank Glaber.
I can see that happening because we kind of saw a little bit of them coming down in the previews.
A little bit.
So that would definitely catch him off guard, unexpected. Because I love that they don't wait for the enemy to come to them; they come to the enemy.
Exactly.
Being aggressive. And so that definitely wraps up our Spartacus AfterBuzz. We would love for you guys to rate us on iTunes. Make sure that you are doing your thing, doing it well, because Bing is for doing all day long. You can check Sean and Spicy Money out every Friday on our Spartacus AfterBuzz recap, and you can tweet at us at AfterBuzz TV, and you can tweet at me at spicy_Mari. That's spicy_MARI.
And you can tweet at me at the Sean Overman.
Or you can follow his movie blogs. Also, what's your website?
SeanOverman.org.
He has really great reviews, you guys. And hit us up anytime when it comes to Spartacus. Let us know your thoughts and opinions and what you think. And we love you to death. Tweet at us, and we will give you a shout out on the season finale. That's a wrap.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.